Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, it is great to have you. And today we have some huge news coming out for Bitcoin because for the first time in over a year, Bitcoin has a golden cross on the daily timescale. Now, one could say that this is one of the catalysts, if not the catalyst, that caused the previous bull run from $4,000 to over $60,000. And this has happened a couple times in the history of Bitcoin. So today what I would like to do is look at the previous times Bitcoin has had a golden cross, seeing the impact that has had on the price of Bitcoin, and then determine how this current golden cross will affect Bitcoin, and then eventually give a price prediction for where I think Bitcoin can go from here, because this is looking more and more like a reversal really the longer that this happens. So let's go ahead and dive on into this. If that does sound interesting to you, make sure you stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But let's look at this. So if you're not familiar with what a golden cross is, the golden cross is when the 50 EMA crosses upwards over the 200 EMA, like we're seeing right here. Now, the last time that we saw something like this again was back in May of 2020. So I want to take a look at that, and then of course the previous times that Bitcoin has had this golden cross, because it seems like almost every time this happens, Bitcoin tends to go in a very nice bull market, and it's usually a decent sign that the market has indeed bottomed, maybe with one exception. So this is where we're at right now. Obviously, this is officially crossed over. This is something that we theorized over the past and coming weeks as this thing started pointing back upwards, and this could be the sign that the golden cross was on its way and that a lot of price action to the upside was to come. And of course, that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, going back to May of 2020, we can see that the last time that Bitcoin had this golden cross is when it reversed back in May. So looking at the price here, of course, Bitcoin decided to bottom out right in this $4,000 area, or really $3,000 area. And then the golden cross formed. Now we could see that this formed a little bit preemptively, but what this was, in my opinion, was a sign that things were reversing and there was just more bullishness to come. We saw it happen over in here. Of course, the price of Bitcoin went from 3.2 thousand all the way up to nearly 14,000. We had the death cross come back in, the golden crosses start coming back into play, and then we went from this $4,000 price all the way up to $60,000, because this is one of the last times that we saw this happen. And of course, the rest is history over here. So we have from 4,000 to 60,000, from 3,000 to 14,000, and then the time before that we saw this was, oh man, I don't even know, a whole lot earlier, probably back in 2015, 2016, where we went from just a couple $100s up to $20,000. Now, I do want to note there was one that you could say is maybe a potential fake out in here, and that was the one from 2018. If we look at this, though, this one just barely touched the EMAs, wasn't quite a full crossover, and if anything, this was a bull trap. So while this can have a little bit of inconsistencies in the past, for the most part, if this thing really does cross one over the other, like this one again, not much cross room was left in that area. So when that golden cross did happen, it wasn't fully crossed. But when they do fully cross, as we've seen in the history of most of these, I would say 90% of the time that we see a golden cross happens, it does typically look like it is, number one, a reversal, number two, bullish price action typically follows it. Now, again, nothing's guaranteed. There is no guarantees in trading, so I hate using the word like that. But looking at this and just looking at how consistent this has been of a tool of, number one, identifying, as I said, upwards price action is coming, or number two, identifying that a bottom is in. So that's exactly kind of what I'm seeing over in here and saying, hey, we had a great sell-off. We had a great momentum from the bears, but now that this is kind of all said and done, this does look like, if this continues to hold above the 50 EMA, this does look like it is the bottom for the bears, and that this could potentially just be the bottom of Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin is getting ready to go to new all-time highs and bring most of the cryptocurrency market with it. Because ultimately, I believe that if Bitcoin goes up, most of the cryptocurrency market will go up and follow in its path, like Ethereum and a lot of the altcoins. So with this being where we're at right now, I want to make one thing clear. This doesn't mean that we can't move up and down in these small segments, but I do think that this $30,000 or this $29,000 area was ultimately the bottom for Bitcoin. Now, I guess time will tell. Maybe this is just a much larger scheme, but and there's something bigger going on here. But for the time being, this does look like this has been the bottom for Bitcoin. And I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit of the price of the future of where Bitcoin can head from here. So if I'm looking at anything, I'm immediately saying, all right, well, first things first, we got to conquer this head and shoulder, couple of resistance levels. First one's going to be just around and just below this $50,000 area, which is what we're just starting to test at the current moment. But then also just around 60,000, and then of course the all-time high at 65,000. Now above that, you're going to have psychological levels at things like 70,000, 75, 80, 90, 100,000. I think is going to be a big one. But I do think that it's only a matter of time until Bitcoin does hit that $100,000 area. And while it might sound crazy, again, the way that this is looking right now, Bitcoin, if we measure this out, I don't think Bitcoin fell much more than 50%. Yeah, so 54, 55%, which is a huge discount. Huge discount. This means that if Bitcoin were to go back from its all-time high, from where it previously bottomed at, that you would make, if you caught the bottom, 120%. If it just goes back to its all-time high. So this is something that I'm obviously very excited for. If it falls 55%, you have the potential to make over 110%. So I think that there's a lot of area of value with where Bitcoin's situated right now. If I'm looking for any kind of pullback on Bitcoin, I would love to see it pull back to maybe like 42,000. And then once Bitcoin's in that area, I would be very comfortable putting money into both altcoins and Bitcoin itself, anywhere probably between like 42 and 38,000. That would be where I would see a great area of value as to where I can maybe load the boat, maybe put in some longs, and hopefully see Bitcoin eventually break that all-time high of 65,000 and head towards that $100,000 price target. So that is just it. While I don't have I would say like a specific number of like 107,823 or something crazy like that, I do think that it's only a matter of time until we hit that macro goal where so many people are looking at just as a milestone, that milestone being $100,000. I think it's only a matter of time before we hit that and head in that direction, which looks like we're doing right now. So that's going to go ahead and be it for this technical analysis and price prediction of Bitcoin. If you did enjoy this, make sure you stick around for more content like this. We have lots more content coming out on the channel. So if you like stuff like this and want to see similar content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps get it out to more audiences, and it keeps you in the loop as well. And I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on this as well. So drop a comment in the comment section down below, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. Once again, thank you all, and I will see you all in the next video.